Guys, will you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Aditi, will you able to hear? Akshita, Amrita, anyone?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Amrita. Guys, anybody unable to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Vaishnavi. Guys, I need some response.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Hello. Will you able to hear everyone? Arman.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Guys, yes or no? I am unable to hear anything from your end. Hello. Anyone can able to speak?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, Vaishnavi, I can hear you now.
Nice.
Yes. So far, I didn't hear any sound voice from you. So, shall we start? Anyone can brief what we discussed in last class? Anyone? Guys, anyone can give a brief or quick revision what we discussed in last class? Vaishnavi, can you?
Nice, sir. Sir,
Yes.
we saw about the how to find HCF and LCM by using prime factorization method, sir.
Okay. Next. That's it, or any other things? More than that, anything we done? That's it. Guys, some response. So, shall I go with some questions?
Yes, sir.
So, some other applications of prime factorization also we done. So, how we can prove the statement, whether it is a true statement or false statement. So, try to do this question. Show that 12 power n cannot end with digits digits 0 or 5 for any natural number n. For any natural number n. How we will explain this question to? So here also concept is factorization only, but how we will explain? That's important. Anyone got the answer?
Yes, sir.
How you can explain? Can you guide me? I will write here.
Yes, sir. Sir, if 12n has to be like ending with the digit 0, it must be divisible by 5.
Yes.
But
How we can
it is-
say it can't be divisible by 5?
because the prime factors of 12 are not involved with 5. It only has 2 and 3.
Yes. First, we have to convert 12 into prime factorization. 12 power n can be written as 2 into 3 whole power n. So 2 power 2n into, correct, 3 power n. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
condition for divisible by ending with 0. Condition for to end with 0. It should be divisible by 5 or 10. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So there is no 5 in the prime factorization. There is no 5 in the prime factorization. And even though 5 is available, one more even number should be available. 5 and one even number should be available. Then only I can say it can be, the number should end with 0. Even number is available, but 5 is not available. So even for condition to end with 5 also, it should be divisible by 5. So the number after prime factorization, it is giving only 2 power 2n and 3 power n. There is no factor of 5. Whatever the number n it is, after prime factorization, 5 is not a factor of 12 power n if n is any natural number. I can write like this. So automatically the number never end with 0 or 5, because if the number is ending with 0 or 5, 5 should be a compulsory, at least one 5 should be a factor for the number. Got it? How to write the statement? 2, 3 statement, that is enough. This one main conclusion statement, that is enough. Guys, right? I can go for next one. Shall I go for the
Yes,
next
sir.
one?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So same way. One more question. Explain, show that 6 power n cannot end with the digit, end with the digit 0 for any natural number n. So after doing this question, one more question I am copying here. Please solve this question also. Explain, this we already done in last class. Explain why 3 into 5 into 7 plus 7 is a composite number. Third question. After this, we are going to some theorems based on these questions. What we can conclude from, can two natural numbers n two natural numbers have 18 as their HCF and 380 as their LCM. Give reasons. Please just think over it how to do these two questions. Mechanic number ఎంత? Mechanic number ఏంటి? Mechanic the number. Mechanic the number. Mechanic number. Installs ఉన్నాయి.
94441 94441 05598.
Guys, anyone completed the questions? Anyone got the first question completed? Anyone? Guys, some response from you.
Yes, sir.
So how to do? Same way now? Am I right?
So the same way, sir.
So 6 can be written as 2 power n into 3 power n. It should be end with 0 means what is the condition?
It has to be divisible by 5.
Compulsory 5 should be a factor. So it is 2 and 3 only prime factors. There is no 5. At least 1 5 you should get. Even 1 5 also we can't say. 1 5 and 1 even number you have to get. So it is not divisible by 5. So the number can't end with 6 power n can't end with 0. Like that also can expect. Second question, who done second question? It's a single step almost, correct?
Sir, it is a composite number because it has
Multiples of 7. Simple. Consider the given number is equal to t. 3 into 5 plus.
Ready అయిపోయినా? ఓకే అన్న నాది ఒక హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ లో ఓకే అని. ఎవలో అన్న కాదు?
Take 7 common.
Okay.
So
Okay. Now half an hour. Okay.
7 is a prime number and this is some other number. So P can be written as multiples of 7. So other than itself and 1. If any other number is there, then you can say that is a composite number. It is having some factor. 7 is a factor for P. 7 is a factor for given number.
Sir, I have a doubt here.
Yes.
So it can't be just write in a sentence like it is not a prime number because there are other factors like prime
Correct.
factors other than 1.
Other
and
than 1 and itself, it is having some other factors.
Sir,
So-
can we write like it has more than 2 factors, so it is a
Correct.
composite number?
See, I'm clearly saying it's your wish.
So it is not compulsory that we have to write all these steps, right?
See, yeah, any one step is any one statement is enough to prove it is a not prime. Correct?
Okay, sir.
Either what he said more than one factor it is having, and what you are saying other than 1 and itself it is having other factors. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's your wish, but it should be meaningful. You should not write even our own words without meaning. See, what you both are saying, both are correct answers only, but your approach is different. But final conclusion is same only, no? He is saying more than 2 factors I'm having, sir. Yes, more than 2 factors, that is a definition of composite. And you are saying 1 and other than itself, any number called a composite number. If I am able to prove other than P and other than 1, any other number is a factor for this, multiples of some other numbers, then I can say it is a composite number. What about third question? How we will explain the question number 3? I know.
Sir, I guess we have to find that whether 18 is divisible by 380.
Why?
Sir, since 18 is not a factor of 380, sir.
So can 2 natural numbers have 18 as their HCF and 380 as their LCM? Give reasons. How we can say this?
So the HCF should be a factor of LCM, sir.
Correct. Simple. If 380 can be divisible by, so I'm taking 2 numbers, A into B should be equal to 18 into 380. Correct? So 380 is multiples of least common multiple. 18 is highest common factor. From here you can say 18 should be a factor of 380. Whether you are getting 380 factor or not.
No, sir.
No, sir.
It's not coming. Then what is your answer?
Sir, they can, 18 cannot be 18 cannot be HCF and 380 cannot be LCM for given 2 natural numbers, sir.
So reason?
Because 18 is not a factor of 380.
Correct. Here the HCF is not a factor of LCM because you are saying it is a multiples. And if it is a multiples means at least whatever the factors you are getting from A and B, it's a common factor. So the common factor should can be divisible with multiple of common multiple. What I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, based on this, I'm going to give 2 more statements we will call as the theorems. These are also theorems. So far we done 2 theorems. One is Euclid division lemma. Second one is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. We are going to start with third one. The topic of this one is revisiting the irrational numbers. We are going to revisiting the irrational numbers. So far we done the irrational numbers, root 2, root 3 are irrational numbers. Irrational numbers. Guys, what is the definition of irrational numbers? Hello. Definition of irrational numbers.
Sir, the numbers which can't be expressed in the form of P by Q.
Which can't be
Expressed in the form
expressed
of
as in the form of P by Q. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Those numbers are called. See, we are having recurring and non-recurring. Recurring means, suppose if I am taking 1.25, 1.25 is a rational number. Why I am saying 1.25 is a rational number? 1.25 can be written as pi by 4. Correct? Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the terminating number. 0.33333. This is recurring, non-terminating. Recurring, non-terminating. That means it won't terminate. It is up to infinity you can write. This also can be written in the form of 10 by 3. Sorry, 1 by 3. This also can be written of 1 by 3. So even this non-terminating, it is unable to terminate. See, if I'm dividing with 5 with 4, it is terminated. After this, zeros will come. But here, continuously you are getting 3, 3, 3, 3. So it is non-recurring and non-terminating. Even this number also can be written in the form of P by Q. That's the reason this is also we will call as rational number. But there are some numbers like this. 1.5234321548910321 and so on. See here, there is no recurring. I can't say some amount of number is recurred or there is no terminating. It's not recurred, not terminated. See, terminated recurring number, how it will look. If I'm taking 10 by 8, it will be 1.125. So there is no recurring, but it is terminated. 125. No recurring, but it is terminated. So these numbers, non-recurring, non-terminating, that is clear? A little bit new terminology. Non-recurring, non-terminating numbers or non-recurring in the sense non-repeating. Non-repeating, non-terminating. Numbers or the decimal expansion is called irrational numbers. Why it is called irrational numbers? We can't express these numbers in the form of P by Q. We can't say it is what ratio. We can give only the exact ratio, approximate ratio or rounding off to some number, then only I can do the what ratio it can give. So these numbers, how I can identify these numbers? How I can say this is a rational number? This is a definition, but how I can go? Generally, root 2, root 3, root 5. That means mostly I can say root of prime numbers. Root P. These are the irrational numbers. Suppose if I am taking 0.625 under the root, it is 0.0625. It is a 0.25, that is 1 by 4. This value is equal to 1 by 4. Even though if it is a fraction, I can able to represent in the form of P by Q. But these I can't able to keep it in P by Q. That means I can't say what is the square root of 2 as exact value. I can't give the exact value of the root 2. So how I can prove this is an irrational number? We said only according to definition, yes, this is irrational number because we can't write P by Q form. I need a proof. How I can prove? This proof can be explained by using this division lemma or prime factorization only. See, from previous concepts, I can say one thing. See, when I'm talking about 6 power n, whether it can be divisible by any number or not, I am writing 2 power n into 3 power n. So, what? From this, I can say 6 power n for any natural number this number can be divisible by 2 and 3 compulsory. I can say like this. Why?
Yes, sir.
It clearly says it's a multiples of 2 power something, 3 power something. Now, if I am taking a prime number 2 power n, what is the meaning? 2 into 2 into 2 into and so on 2. For any natural number n, 2 power n can be divided with 2, even for n is equal to 1 also. Am I right or no? Correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Now, this I'm putting into a theorem. Suppose if I'm saying 6 power n, it can be written as 2 power n into 3 power n. So 6 can be divisible by 2 or 3. Like that, my theorem number 3, what it says. I'm going to write the theorem number 3, first chapter, theorem number 3. What my theorem number 3 says, if P be a, third theorem, let P be a prime number. Let P be a prime number. Some prime number. If P divides a square, then P divides a also. A where a is a positive integer. How many people will accept this one? The proof I am not going to give. Proof is not required. If anybody wants proof, I will tell you. Anyone wants to prove? It's very clearly says now. Suppose if I am taking P be a prime number. Suppose if I am taking 2 is a prime. I am taking some 6 square is divisible by 2. Then 6 also can divisible by 2. Why? Anyone can give the reason? What is the logic behind this? Guys, anyone? Little quick answer.
Sir, if we take an even number in the prime number, sir, as a prime number, like how we have taken 2, and we keep 6 square, like how we have kept, square of 6 will be even only, sir, like even number square will be even. And if we take an odd number for prime, the odd numbers square will be an odd number, right?
Simple. I will tell you what is the given data here. The given is saying P is a prime number, A square is some number. I'm not saying whether it is A square is never prime. Even though A is prime, A square is never prime, correct? Because I am saying A is some positive integer. A is some positive integer. So A can be written in the form of some prime factors. P1 into P2 into P3 into P4 and so on. Pn. Based on the number, you will get that many of primes, correct? Guys, right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it mandatory? P1 must be different with P2, P2 must be different with P3, P3, and all should be different. We can't say now. Suppose if I'm taking 25, 5 into 5. If I'm taking 125, I will get 5 into 5 into 5. If I'm taking 250, I will get 2 into 5 into 5. There are some primes, same number will come, correct? Correct or not? So what I'm taking is, here P1 is repeated n1 times, P2 is repeated n2 times, P3 is repeated n3 times, and so on. Pn is repeated n times. I can say like this because whether it be 0 times or 2 times or 1 time or 3 times. Can possible, no? Correct or not? Suppose if I am saying if P is one prime factor, what should happen? Either P1 or either P2 or either P3 should be equal to P. Any one prime should be equal to this P. Got it, guys? What I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
So-
I didn't understand, sir.
See, if P is one of the prime factor of A square, this is A square only, no? Sorry, A power n I'm saying. This is A power n. If P is one of the prime factor of A power n, if P is one of the prime factor of A power n, so either any one of this P1 or P2 or P3 must be your P. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So what I have to prove? If P is a prime factor of A power n and A should be divisible by P. So this can be written as P into P power n minus 1 into remaining primes will come. This is your A power n. Got it what I'm saying? If I am taking this is common, what I will get? From here, 1 P power n minus 1 plus, P power n minus P if I am taking common, and remaining all factors will come. See here, A power n can be written as P is a factor, which already I told, and this one. So it's very clearly says A power n means what? It is repeating n times, and P is a factor for this. It is possible, according to fundamental theorem of arithmetic, how I can say A should be divisible with the P. Then only it is possible here. Guys, clear or anything confusion? Actually, proof is not required. The statement we are taking, and we will further we will move. Proof is not there in the syllabus. If I am saying any square or cube or anything is divided with a prime number, that number also will divisible with prime. Suppose if I am taking 3 cube is divided with 3 cube, 27 is divisible by 3, 3 also divisible by 3. That is a theorem. Can I go for the next theorem? Guys, last theorem.
Yes, sir.
This is not there in the textbook, but still we are using in some places. Keep it in mind, guys. Here also we are not going to explain with any proof. If A and B are, if A and B are any natural numbers, that means it might be prime or it might be non-primes. Any natural numbers. And P is a prime number, and P is prime number such that P divides AB. P divides A into B. That means product of AB can be divisible by P. Then P divides A or P divides B or P divides both. What I'm trying to say? Guys, what is the thing? Suppose if I am having a number, it is a product of two numbers. Suppose if I am having a number, it is a product of two numbers. Suppose if I am taking a prime, that prime is divisible by that product. Best example, I am taking 14, 7. 14 can be written as 2 into 7. If 14 is divisible by 7, correct? 14 is divisible by 7. So what he's trying to say is, suppose 14 can be written as 2 into 7. This 7 can be divisible by, suppose this is A, this is B, A by 7 or B by 7. So here B by 7 can't be, but at least A by 7. I am not keeping AND here. If I am keeping AND here, it need to prove for both. Either any one number or either product of AB. Both the numbers. Either A can be divisible by with 7 or either B can be divisible by 7 or both can be divisible by 7. But at least one factor can be divisible by with that number. That is what he is trying to say. What is this statement? You take any numbers. 36 I am taking 6. 36 I am taking 6. You take the any two factors of 36 and let me know. Suppose if 36, how many ways I can write product of two numbers? Come. Come. Guys, 36. Anyone can give the different combinations of 36?
Sir, 12 into 3, 6 into 6.
Yeah, I will write here many combinations I will write. 36 can be written as 1 into 36, 2 into 18, 3 into 12, 4 into 9, 5 won't go, 6 into 6, 7 won't go, 8 will go? No. 8 also won't, correct?
It won't go, sir.
9 into 4, again same thing will come. 10, 11, 12 into 3.
12 into 3, 18 into 2,
into 1,
and 36
into 1. So from here we don't want, because it is repeating again, correct? From here it is the
Sir,
same
18
kind of
into 2, sir. You wrote one.
I will arranging, because the same combinations are coming now from here. After 6 into 6, you will get the same combination, correct?
Yes, sir.
Suppose if I am taking 36 is divisible by 6. So I am taking this combination. My A is equal to 1, B is equal to 36, and P is equal to 6. See here, 36 can be divisible by 6. So my theorem is correct. And if I am taking A is equal to 2, P is equal to 18, my P is equal to 6. If I am taking A is equal to 3, B is equal to 12, P is equal to 6. A is equal to 4, B is equal to 9, and P is equal to 6. What's happening here? Here it is dividing both. And here A is equal to 6, B is equal to 6, P is equal to 6. Here B divides P, here also B divides P, here B divides P, here AB divides P, and here A divides P, and also B divides P. Out of 3 conditions, any one condition will always satisfy. This is what he's trying to say. Sorry guys, here I am not taken prime. Very sorry, I am not taken prime. It should be a prime, then only you will get. This theorem says P should be a prime. So I am taking 3. If I am taking 3, see here B divides P, and B divides with P, and here A divides with P and B also divides with P. Here B divides with P, here A divides P and B divides P, both. Here B, here also, here B, A and B, here only B. And here A and B both. This is what the theorem says. Shall I go for the application of these things? From here only we are going to prove. We know root 2 is an irrational number, but how and why? How I can prove using these concepts? Shall I go for one question, guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's a simple. You can consider this is as your fifth theorem. This is like a theorem for us in our textbook. If you see in textbook, they mentioned as a theorem 1.4. Root 2 is irrational. Prove that root 2 is irrational. Root 2 is irrational. How we will prove? See, in the beginning of the class, I don't know how many people can able to remember. There are different approaches of solving the mathematical problems for us. All these methods, what we are doing till 10th standard, are called deductive methods. There is one more method called inductive method that we are going to learn in +1. And sometimes there are some proofs we'll prove in a opposite way. Opposite way means whatever the thing they are giving, we will take opposite to that given data. Suppose they are saying yes, we will say no and we will proceed and we will prove our assumption is contradictory for something. Contradictory means somewhere it is saying some other statements are wrong because of this assumption. So we will go, all these problems will go like this only. He is asking us to prove root 2 is irrational. We are not going to prove irrational. We are going to prove root 2 is not rational. That means what? We are having either in real numbers, we are having only two possibilities. Either it should be rational or either it should be irrational. I don't know how to prove irrational, but I know how to say whether a number is rational or not. If I am saying it is not rational, automatically it is irrational. What it is? What is a strategy? One kind of strategy in mathematics. There is a situation. There are only two possibilities: option A and option B. I don't know whether I can decide option B, but I can say option A is right or wrong. If I am saying option A is not compulsory, no option, it is having the answer is option B. What is the strategy I am using here?
Yes, sir.
So instead of proving root 2 is irrational, if I am proving root 2 is not rational, that means it is irrational. That is what I am trying to prove here. Because I don't know any particular method how to prove the irrational numbers. I know there is only method. It is either rational or not. It can be either rational or not. So solution. Any irrational number to prove, we will use the same method. Let's assume root 2 is rational. What is the definition of rational? What is the definition of rational? Guys? Any rational number can be written
Any
as P
number
by
in the
Q.
form of P by
Form
Q,
of P by Q, where Q is not equal to
zero and Q is
Q should not be equal to 0 and P, Q are
integers.
no common factors except 1 and it should be integers, correct? No common factors. Integers, no common factors. So I can write my root 2 can be written as P by Q, where P comma Q are integers, Q not equal to 0 and P comma Q have no common factors. This is my assumption. I am saying root 2 is rational. If any number is rational, I can able to written in the format of P by Q, and I am defining what is P and what is Q. This statement is very important, guys. It looks very simple, but there is a lot of meaning if I am not mention anything. So I am taking square on both sides. if I am taking square on both sides, what will get? What I will get?
2 is equal to p square by q square.
2 is equal to p square by q square, and cross multiply. P square can be written as 2q square, correct?
Yes, sir.
That means 2q square can be divisible by 2 because 2 is a factor of 2q square, correct?
Yes, sir.
So here, this is one number, this is another number. I can say if 2q square is divisible by 2 and 2q square is equal to p square, so where 2q square is equal to p square also divisible by 2, because I'm saying these two numbers are same. Two numbers are same. Whatever the factor 2q square having, the same factor p square also will have, correct? Guys, clear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
if a square is divisible by a prime number, a also should divisible by with the prime number. If p square is divisible by a prime number 2, according to our theorem, p also divisible by
2.
2. P also divisible by 2. So if p is divisible by 2, how I can write p? How I can write p? If any number can be divisible by 2, I can write according to fundamental division algorithm, Euclid division lemma, p can be written as 2m plus 0, or p can be written as 2m because it is divisible by 2 now. Either it can be 2m plus 0 or 2m plus 1. Sorry, 2m plus 1 is not, 2m plus 0 only, correct?
Yes, sir.
So now where m is what? Where m is an integer. Because I proved p square can be divisible by 2, so p also can be divisible by 2. If p can be divisible by 2 means p is multiples of 2m. So substitute this equation in the beginning in the sense we are having an equation of p square is equal to 2q square. Substitute this p value here. What I will get if I am substituting the p value here? I will get 2m whole square is equal to 2q square, and this can be written as 4m square is equal to
2q square.
2q square, and from here q square can be written as 2m square. Correct? And from here what I can say? Q square is equal to 2 times m square. Q square is equal to 2 times m square. So as 2 divides 2m square, and 2 divides q square also, because q square 2m square is same. If 2m square can be divisible by 2,
Sir, I didn't understand the
automatically
last
q square
part, sir.
also divisible by 2. See here. If
Sir,
I'm
I didn't
saying
understand the last
a
part,
is
sir.
equal to 44. This one only, no? This statement only, no?
Yes, sir. Above that also, sir.
See here. Initially, I wrote p is equal to 2q square, no?
Yes, sir.
Got it? Guys, any confusion? Hello? You able to hear, guys? Yes, will able to hear?
Yes, sir.
See here, in the beginning, I started with P by Q is equal to root 2. After squaring, I will get P square is equal to 2 Q square. Correct? From there, after that, I proved as P is equal to 2M. And that P is equal to 2M, I am substituting in P square is equal to 2Q square. So what I will get 2M whole square is equal to 2Q square. This will be 4M square is equal to 2Q square. So if I am dividing both sides with 2, this will become 2M square. This will become Q square. So if suppose if A is equal to 44, so 44 can divisible with 2. So compulsory I can say A also can divide with 2 now.
Yes, sir.
Because A is equal to 44. So if 2M square is divisible with 2, 2M square can divisible with 2 now because it is a multiple of 2. I can say 2 is a factor of 2M square. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Simple. 44 can be written as 2 into 22. This is the fact. 2 is a factor of this number. Automatically 44 is also a factor of this number only now.
Yes, sir.
44, 2 is a factor for 44 as well as 2 is a factor for 22 into 2. Same as if 2 is a factor for 2M square, compulsory Q square also having a factor of 2, correct? 2 divides Q square also.
Yes, sir.
And 2 is prime. Here 2 is prime. Here we are getting one contradictory statement. What contradictory statement I am getting? Anyone can identify what is the contradictory statement here? And here I can say 2 divides Q square. 2 divides Q square. 2 divides Q square, and if 2 divides Q square, 2 divides Q also. That is a theorem now. If A square is divisible by with a prime number P, A also can divide it with prime number P. Listen here. Here, see, here we prove P is having 2 is a factor of P. Again, I prove 2 is the factor of Q also. And 2 is a common factor for P and Q. P and Q. 2 is a common factor for P and Q. This statement is contradictory with my assumption. See here, P and Q does not have any common factors other than 1. So whatever the thing I assumed, it is giving some wrong statement here. So that means what? 2 is a common factor that contradicts my statement. What statement? It is contradicting P and Q have no common factors. So when it is contradicting, my assumption is wrong. So what is my assumption? So this statement is contradicting my assumption. So my assumption is wrong. There's small problem with my digital pen. Please let me know if anything is not understanding. So what is my what is my statement? Root 2 is rational. Is wrong statement. Because it's contradictory statement I'm getting. I assumed it doesn't have any common factor, but in the process of solving, I got a 2 is a common factor. So root 2 is a rational number is a wrong statement. From here, if it is not a rational number, root 2 is irrational number. Root 2 is irrational number. So here, if you understand the question, if you go through the process of this question, completely we are not proving whether it is irrational. We are proving it is not rational. The meaning of not rational means it is irrational. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We are going to discuss in next class. After this, based on this root 2, same way we will prove for root 3, same way we will prove for some other numbers. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The next exercise is completely dealing with this only. And last exercise is how to rounding up the decimal numbers. With these two concepts, we are going to wind up this lesson. So we'll meet in the next class. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.